If your eyes have found this, it's not by chance. This isn't meant for the masses. Most won't grasp what's being said, and that's precisely how the divine intended it. What follows is powerful, intentional, and meant only for those who are spiritually aligned. If you're seeing this right now, it means you've been guided here by a force greater than coincidence, because you're spiritually prepared to handle what others are not. This message has been safeguarded, hidden not because it was false, but because only now has the right moment arrived. Understand that what you're about to encounter must be treated with reverence. There are energies at work that resist the emergence of this truth. The directive came clearly: speak not to all, but only to those who truly see and genuinely hear. You are undergoing a profound internal transition, not just spiritually but vibrationally, into a space where the unthinkable becomes attainable. The answers you've been waiting for are no longer distant hopes, they're stepping into your current reality. Paths are being cleared, arrangements are falling into place, and victories are being quietly engineered in your favor. However, take this seriously. If your heart isn't prepared to absorb this fully, you may not even reach the end of this message. That's how spiritually charged it is. Pause right now and take 3 steps. Tap the like button as a sign of agreement in the spirit. Subscribe so your connection to this truth deepens, and comment 99 to spiritually anchor this word. That number is symbolic. It's being used as a divine signal. If you feel something moving inside you, that's your spirit bearing witness to this sacred truth. You didn't arrive here randomly, you were summoned. Yet this isn't for wide public consumption. That's why it's coming in whispers, not declarations. Pay attention, because we're about to dive deep. There's a purpose behind why you're being repeatedly drawn into quiet places. You're not ordinary, you're chosen and marked. Hear this clearly. You've been unveiling thoughts and dreams that weren't ready for the world to see. You've spoken about plans that needed spiritual incubation. Each time you released a revelation too soon, you exposed it to attack. That seed God placed in your soul wasn't meant to be thrown to spectators before it was fortified. You're not being passed over by heaven, you're being shielded. The divine understands your longing to be seen and to share what's in your heart. But his instruction remains, be still. It's not denial, it's preservation. Because if you put your dreams on display before they're matured, people won't understand their value. They'll dismiss what's still in its infancy and never envision the mighty oak it will become. This isn't about being elusive. It's about being discerning. The command is clear. Speak only at the appointed time. Act only under divine instruction. Until then, your quietness is your defense. Your ability to hold your tongue is part of the armor protecting your destiny. Many around you aren't allies. They're merely observers, waiting to see what happens. You've mistaken curiosity for loyalty. You've believed that openness would build trust, but instead it made you a target. God never called you to perform. He called you to walk in purpose. You're not obligated to update anyone on your progress when heaven itself is still scripting your story. God isn't after popularity. He's forming true vessels of impact. And while you chase visibility, heaven chases depth in your soul. Every time you share from eagerness instead of obedience, your purpose becomes more vulnerable to interference. Not all applause is genuine. Ask yourself honestly, who are you really trying to impress? God is saying, let me bring you forth when you're prepared, not when you're hungry for validation. Keep your purpose hidden until your anointing becomes undeniable. When it's your time to rise, no force can halt what God has affirmed. Let's dismantle a lie now. God isn't angry with you. He's not punishing you. He's sounding a divine alert. That uneasy feeling isn't shame. It's a spiritual siren to protect you. You've been speaking from excitement, and while that's human, it's also risky. When joy isn't paired with spiritual maturity, it invites problems you're not equipped to handle. Every announcement, every revelation shared prematurely, has handed your purpose into ears fueled by jealousy and hearts not synchronized with the divine. The Spirit whispers, "I didn't tell you to share it yet. I asked you to entrust it to me." That inner frustration, that delay that defies explanation, is not condemnation. It's divine redirection. God's voice isn't always a roar. Often it's a whisper, a pause. If you quiet your mind enough, you'll note he's been pulling you back, not to confine you, but to catapult you forward. But you must mute your own voice to hear his clearly. Here's the hard truth. The biggest hindrance to your breakthrough might be someone you confided in. You assumed they were safe, assumed they'd pray, only to find they sowed uncertainty behind your back. And now your vision is under siege, not from strangers, but from trusted faces. Spiritual sabotage rarely shows up with obvious warning signs. It comes cloaked in familiar faces, warm smiles, and soft tones. That person you leaned on, they aren't evil. They just weren't equipped to handle the weight of what God put inside you. This isn't about being paranoid. It's about being wise. You're in a moment where spiritual awareness is worth more than public recognition. Begin to scrutinize your inner circle, reevaluate who's celebrating you. Not everyone has the capacity to hold your destiny without crushing it. Some gifts are meant to be protected, not paraded. That moment of online attention, that viral post, it may have stepped outside God's timing. You felt inspired and bold, and you revealed your heart's direction. But now the momentum has stopped. Why? Because what you disclosed became a bullseye. Not everything meant for celebration is meant for public eyes. Some gifts must develop under divine secrecy. The enemy doesn't need access to your journal. He's already watching your updates. Every glimpse you give of a promise still being formed becomes a spiritual open door. Yes, social platforms are tools, but they can easily become snares. God's urging is firm. Step away. Return your dream to the altar. Let him finish crafting what he began before you invite others to admire it. This next move is too profound, too sacred, too divinely endorsed to be slowed by another early unveiling. In this moment, heaven is acting quietly, and it's asking you to mirror that. Your plans aren't broken. Your prayers haven't gone unnoticed, but your volume must decrease for this next stretch. The heavens are aligning hidden allies, unveiling concealed routes, and clearing spiritual traps. But only if you remain still long enough to allow divine timing to do its work. Silence isn't defeat, it's preparation. Every quiet day builds unseen strength. You're being shaped in divine stillness. The world won't grasp it until God uncovers it publicly. You're being held back, not because you're undeserving, but because you are precious. And sacred things are never rushed. This is a moment of divine synchronization, not display. The Spirit says, "Let nothing interfere. Let no outside influence touch what I'm shaping. Let no critique interrupt the miracle I'm orchestrating." The quieter you remain, the more thunderously heaven will declare your emergence. Let's be honest, envy is one of the most potent tools in spiritual conflict. The evil eye isn't just folklore, it's scriptural. Jealousy wrapped in feigned affection is a real threat. Every revelation shared with someone still battling their own insecurities becomes fuel for misaligned energies. Some aren't interceding on your behalf. They're silently watching and spiritually undermining. That update you thought was harmless, it was ammunition in the wrong hands. To you, it might seem like just a caption, but to someone else, it's an invitation to interfere spiritually. God is declaring, your quietness is not just prudence, it's protection. Keep your fire shielded. Keep your blessings wrapped in sacred secrecy. Jealous eyes may be watching, but they can't strike what they can't see. You owe no one a progress report. Let heaven showcase the result when the time is right. By then, the enemy will be too late. The weight of God's presence is too divine to be flaunted for casual applause. What God is birthing in and through you isn't a performance. It's a sacred mission. It was never meant to be broadcast like a trailer for attention. It's being crafted for eternal impact. The majesty that is about to unfold in your journey is meant to be sheltered, not showcased. You've been entrusted with something sacred, and sacred vessels don't make noise about their contents. They carry the divine quietly until the divine signals its time. What you're stepping into now isn't about fame, it's about divine synchronization. If the unveiling hasn't happened yet, it's because heaven is still strengthening it against spiritual marksmen who aim to destroy it before it even stands. God is whispering, stop offering glimpses of what they have no grace to grasp. Some manifestations require stillness, secrecy, and shadows to flourish. And when the curtain finally lifts, it won't be for applause, it'll be for justice. This place you're in, the ache you feel it comes from letting people into your soul who were never meant to carry your spirit. You believed in their gestures, their praises, their piety, but beneath it festered envy, conflicted minds, and covert attacks on your calling. Now you're left unsure, broken, and uncertain. But heaven is neither shocked nor shaken. It saw it coming. That sting of betrayal is heaven's invitation to retreat, to that quiet sacred chamber where only his voice speaks. This isn't abandonment, it's a divine course correction. You leaned on humanity when you should have leaned on divinity. God says, that pain was permitted to preserve your divine architecture. Now return to me, and let's rebuild in the furnace, in truth, in secrecy. God hasn't retracted the promise. He's just altering the audience allowed to witness its birth. There are those who won't be welcomed back into the birthing room of your calling. Heaven crafts its greatest work in obscurity, behind curtains, under cover, far from the clapping of crowds. This space, devoid of affirmation, is where arrogance dies and divine mission takes its first breath. Yet you've been running toward recognition, unaware that the limelight is muting the movement of heaven. You desire eyes upon you, but God desires transformation within you. You long to be seen, but heaven requires you to be refined. You want a stage, but God is fixing your posture. You yearn for public approval, but God insists on sacred solitude. You aren't hidden because you're lacking. You're hidden because you're potent, and premature exposure would distort what's holy. Spotlight feels thrilling, but can ruin what hasn't matured. Let him cloak you. Let the process unfold in obscurity. When the veil lifts, what was grown in silence will resonate louder than any announcement. That discomfort you sense, that uneasy energy from those who should cheer for you, that's God signaling that something is off. Not everyone clapping for you is heaven sent. Some are hell's messengers wearing religion like camouflage, carrying blades of betrayal beneath pious smiles. You kept people nearby because of shared past, not spiritual discernment. You've mistaken closeness for calling. But heaven is saying it's time for separation. It's time to sever, to shed, to escape connections that hinder the holy. This isn't the hour to gather many. It's the hour to walk with the few who are divinely designated. Detaching doesn't make you heartless, it makes you holy. You don't need fans. You need spiritual guards, those who preserve your oil instead of exploiting your radiance. If someone depletes your spirit, distracts your focus, or delays your divine path, release them. The conflict you're battling now isn't always from the pit, it's from your own lips. you spoke prematurely. You revealed a holy blueprint before heaven approved its unveiling. And now, the resistance you're feeling isn't a curse, it's backlash from the enemy overhearing plans never meant for his ears. There's a reason why Joseph had dreams, but God never told him to disclose them to brothers laced with envy. Yet he did, and found himself in a pit. That pit didn't disprove the dream, it revealed it was shared too early. Your storm echoes that same mistake, not from frailty, but from speaking ahead of divine instruction. But God is kind. This turbulence is a teacher, not a final judgment. Let the gusts remind you that not all visions are to be voiced. Keep sacred insights sacred. Next time, whisper it in prayer, not posts. Protect it, shield it, and only release it when heaven authorizes your words. In doing so, you won't drown. You'll walk steady even on chaos. Timing governs the kingdom. God is never in a hurry to birth what must last. He doesn't rush what is powerful or bless what is chaotic. He operates by eternal calendars, not emotional triggers. Even the most brilliant idea becomes a weight if it steps outside divine schedule. Timing shelters what excitement cannot. It aligns people, provides access, and dismantles darkness. Right when heaven deems it secure, your frustration stems from readiness without release. But readiness doesn't mean heaven has announced your arrival. That pause is a shield, not a denial. Treasure the waiting space, its holy ground. When God finally says, now, you'll see the logic in the delays, the voice in the silences, and the design within what once seemed like detours. Everything of substance germinates in darkness. Infants, seeds, visions. Your dream is no exception. That darkness surrounding you isn't your end, it's your beginning. You're not being buried. You're being rooted. No one sees the fruit yet, because the roots are still being reinforced. The gravest mistake is dragging an unripe vision into daylight. Immature blessings decay when exposed too early, but those cultivated properly, they feed nations. And now, God beckons you allow your dream to ripen in seclusion. Withdraw from validation, from expectations, from performance. Let prayer saturate it. Let patience grow it. Because when the birth moment arrives, no branding will be necessary. It will radiate with heaven's signature, and no dark force will be able to disrupt what was strengthened in silence. God parted waters in total silence. He raised the dead with simple commands. Christ's resurrection happened in a sealed tomb with no witnesses. Heaven's most glorious miracles unfolded without an audience, but with complete surrender, yours will too. You don't need followers. You don't need approval ratings. You need proximity to the divine. God is urging, stop trading sacred fire for virtual applause. The divine strategy being orchestrated behind your back would overwhelm you if you glimpsed it. For now, stay hushed, stay grounded, stay tuned in. The miracle is en route, and when it touches earth, it will be evident it came from God, not through announcement, but through anointing. So let quietness do the talking. Let mystery guard it. Let obedience direct you into purpose. Hear this. What you're enduring isn't because you failed. It's because you carry power. Hell isn't attacking mediocrity. It targets those with heavenly deposits. You're not being punished. You're being spotlighted by the spirit realm. The battles you're facing, they're confirmation, not condemnation. That weight you feel, that disorientation and solitude, that's your soul being recognized in the spirit. The day you aligned your life with the kingdom was the day you were marked, not for harm, but for heaven's shelter. This isn't just life, it's divine war. The battle looks like a breakdown, but it's actually battlefield training. Don't collapse, rise. Don't retreat, anchor deeper. This isn't assault, it's assignment. God is shaping endurance, exposing dependence, and crafting spiritual authority within you. You're learning to roar in whispers, to worship through weeping, and to pray through pain. That's not defeat, it's divine conditioning. And though the trials may not yet cease, you will stop fearing them. When you grasp that opposition affirms your mission, you'll stop dreading the fire and start appreciating the forge. They don't see your light yet, on purpose. God draped you in ordinariness as a disguise. He's cultivating the version of you who walks in power, not applause. Your glory is veiled until your foundation can uphold it. You might blend in, but you are not common. Let them overlook you. Let them misjudge you. Because when the unveiling happens, your impact will be thunderous. Heaven conceals warriors until the war needs their weapons, and you, yes, you, are that weapon in construction. Your hush is not fear, it's heaven's covert strategy. God is forging a force hell never anticipated. When the time is ripe, your concealment will end. But until then, remain low, remain sharp, remain faithful. Do not yearn to be seen. Crave to be solid. Because once God announces who you are, the entire atmosphere will shift, not from noise, but from divine revelation. The climate around you is shifting, and your destined moment is nearing. It will demand every piece of wisdom you've collected during your seasons of hardship. That opportunity you thought was a miracle, that relationship you pleaded with the heavens to preserve, that doorway you mistook for your breakthrough, none of it was meant for you. It was a carefully disguised snare, and in mercy, God forcefully shut it down to guard what He is still weaving ahead of you. You wept when it ended, unaware that what was denied carried hidden sabotage. He saw the intentions, the jealousy behind the smiles, the betrayal cloaked in affection, and the slow erosion it would have caused. Rather than allow your desires to lead, He stepped in with what your soul actually needed: shelter. A locked door isn't punishment, it's protection. You might not grasp the full picture right now, but time will unveil the wisdom behind every entry you were blocked from. Had you crossed those thresholds, it would have depleted your calling, blurred your purpose, and postponed your destiny. So celebrate every denied access, praise the reroutes, and cling to the truth. When the correct door opens, it will be more than an opportunity. It will be a divine signal that heaven had your future under watch the entire time. You've questioned the disappearing acts in your life, the silences, the unanswered messages, the growing void around you, but hear this: you're not being cast aside, you're under holy construction. Solitude is the sacred site where God sculpts masterpieces. In the quiet He forms, in the isolation He shapes. You are not forsaken. You are being purified, molded in secrecy to later emerge in authority. Had those people remained, they would have misaligned the structure, distorted your identity, and contaminated the mission. God empties the space before revealing the blueprint. The stillness you sense is Him creating room for undiluted clarity. He needed your ears attuned solely to His whisper, unclouded by outer noise. The solitude is temporary, but while you dwell in it, absorb it. Listen deeply, grow stronger, build resilience, because when He reintroduces you to the public eye, you won't be chasing applause, you'll be carrying authority. You don't owe validation for your steps of faith. God gave the instruction to you, not to them. If they don't comprehend your path, that's fine. Spiritual obedience doesn't come with an explanation. It comes with execution. Quit exhausting energy trying to make them grasp what was never theirs to hold. Certain commands are too divine to explain. Some instructions lose their sacred fire when spoken aloud. When God commissions you to build, He's not asking you to hold a press conference. He's asking for trust. For action, even if the seats are empty and the cheers are silent. The boldest moves don't come with audiences. They come with inner conviction and quiet resolve. Noah started on an ark without a raindrop. Abraham stepped out with no itinerary. Christ wept alone under the weight of purpose. You're in sacred company, so move forward, build it, trust him. Let the end result scream louder than any speech. What you construct by faith will become undeniable evidence of heaven's fingerprint. Right now, God is honing you like a weapon in secret, not on the platform, not under lights, in hidden places, in silence. Because precision weapons are never shaped in battle. They're crafted before war begins, and when it's time you won't miss, but you must first be made accurate. Every painful goodbye, every heartbreak, every failed planet's all refining you. He's narrowing your focus, sharpening your edge, strengthening your character, not just your skill. He's preparing you for weighty things. For you, being halfway ready won't do. You've been tucked away, pulled back like an arrow. And though it feels like you're retreating, it's divine trajectory. The deeper the draw, the greater the release. When he lets go, it will be with holy force. You will not simply arrive. You will arrive with divine power. You assumed the delay was punishment. It wasn't. It was inspection. God wasn't saying no to you. He was examining the ground ahead to see if it could bear the weight of your purpose. Some paths remained closed not because you were unworthy, but because they weren't equipped to contain the fire within you. That opportunity, that connection, that stage, it may have looked like everything you wanted. But beneath the surface were fractures you couldn't see. So God stopped you. He paused you for your protection. You don't need speed. You need stability. God isn't focused on quick success. He's crafting legacy, something enduring. Every slow moment was him building longevity. What he's doing through you isn't temporary. It's meant to ripple through generations. So trust every pause. Trust every denied door, because when you step into your destined space, it will hold you without breaking, bless you without burdening. That unsettling feeling you've tried to brush away, the gut twinge, the sudden hush when you enter certain spaces, that spiritual alertness, you've mistaken it for fear or overthinking, but it's discernment. Divine radar, a gift meant to guide you, and you've been ignoring it too long. It's not your imagination. It's your spirit reading what your eyes can't see. That inner alarm is real and it's ringing. Begin to